Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this quick tutorial and crash course on VoxelShop. This is the very basics. I haven't even touched most of the advanced features in VoxelShop. We're using this for Blocklings. It's a really easy to use voxel editor. I think it's perfect for our game, and we're looking for people to help us make art for our game. We're going to keep all our art basically open source, so anyone can download them, use them even in their own games, etc. We have a repository just to store it all. And all that information is down in the description, including other tutorials and things like that. It'll be a forum post where you can get all the information, including if you're not even interested in Blocklings, just for your own personal use, there might be great information for your game or your hobby. So when you first open this up, it won't look exactly like this. It'll be slightly, different, just like any tutorial usually on like Photoshop, etc. Some settings might have changed. I might have moved something over left and right, but it should look roughly like this. The first thing we're going to do is talk about Blocklings and Unity and the editor here, VoxelShop. So in VoxelShop, you have this tool right here, basically, is called the Draw Voxel. And you place that, and we have the little plane thing here, the mirror flag on. We'll disable that right now for testing. And when you place a block, you just left click it, you right click it, it gets rid of it. So one of these blocks, this is 1/10 of the blocks you would see size-wise in Unity as a 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. So if I were to fill this whole thing, I'm going to hold shift and drag from one bottom corner to the top. This entire thing is literally just one block in Unity, just to give you a scale size of how we're doing it. So if we hit Control Z to undo that, this would be one block. So if you're making a chest, you would probably say, well, a chest would be, unless it's a small chest, of course, you'd probably have a chest 2 blocks wide rather than just 1 block wide, right? And 1 tall. So under here, there's this little arrow that points to the left. Click it. It's a small one. It's a bounding box dimension, and it lets you change it. So you can look up here, and we want to change the red to 20. And this will basically expand this for you and make it beautiful, of course, to make your life easier. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use our wood. I'm going to use a lighter color here, and we're going to go from here. We're going to hold shift. It's basically simple shift dragging here. It's not hard to make a cube. At first it might seem a little more complicated, but as you get through it over time, it gets easier and easier, and it's just not as complicated. And there you go. In a sense, that's a working chest. I mean, or a block, I guess. But you want more to it, because we're going to animate this over time. You don't have to do the animations, of course. That's all us in Unity. But we need to add seams and things like that to make life easier. Now, there is layering you can do. I've never actually done layering. Layering would be actually a really smart thing to do, because you could say layer the top and layer the bottom on separate layers. And that way, life is actually really easy. So right now, this is the layer we're on. We should add a new layer, for example, and call it top. I've never done this, by the way, so this is actually the first time playing with layering. So bottom. So let's say we're on the top layer, or bottom layer. Sorry, there you go. It says how many blocks it is too. We can go here and we can remove some of these. So let's say we'll remove that amount. So that is the bottom layer there. And we're going to give it a metal seam as well, just to make life seamless. That made no sense. But anyways, so yeah, we're going to place this down here. And we're going to go right around here. Perfect. And that we'll call our bottom layer for now. So what we're going to do is click the top layer. This is going to make life easy. I've never even thought of trying this. I don't know how this is going to export. I don't know if you can export each individual layer or if you can at least hide them when you export. That'll be our thing anyways, but this will make it easier for us anyways. So now we want to put the lid on it, because we're going to animate the lid outside of this within Unity. So to make the lid, we're just going to do the same materials, of course, and we're going to go all the way up. Now, don't clip accidentally over top, because you could put them over top, but you want to keep them within the proper measurement, which is the the size that we set in the grid. So it's 20 by 10 right now, of course, which is 2 blocks within the game. So there you go. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go from here to all the way over here, and boom. So this is the top layer. That's really cool. This is the first time I've ever played with layering. So you can actually hide it And you can see how awesome that is. That's great. That's going to make life a lot easier. Now, normally I would say don't put anything outside the 10 area, but something like a latch or a handle, I don't mind as much because if we clip it, it won't look horrible because there'll be a block in the way. It's not the end of the world. We can deal with that and do something with that, but don't have like massive pieces sticking out usually, unless if it's like a tree or something you're making, of course, right? But like when it comes to something simple like opening and closing a chest, you want to keep in the bounds as much as possible for our sake of making it look prettier. I think it's important that we go ahead and just place this like so. And if you're not sure where it is on here, you can actually use these guys. They even show a little grid, but you don't get really coordinates on this. So sometimes it's kind of like, did I get it right? Did I not get it right? It gets a little confusing, right? So what you could do is you could hold shift and look at the right here. You'll get a number when you do this. That's 9 in. So you know that is correctly even. So that's 9 in. And that gives you a way to do it. And you can hit Control Z. It's a weird way of doing it, but it's simple. I've gotten so used to that. That's how I measure everything now. So when I want to try to measure something, I literally look up there and get an idea if I got in the center, like when placing this latch, for example. So now when we do the animation of this, the top will lift, and this is what it'll look like inside. Now we can add some definition into this, which we're going to use this function over here, the color changer. And we're going to just go across here and just basically add some darker areas just to give it that more, that defining look to it. Now, the only downside here is this is a little funny looking. So I might have done this one lower just so I can get the corners looking a little cooler, because you see how you can't put one there. But if we go like that, that's not a bad idea either. It probably is okay because it's, the top of it. It looks a little off that way. I don't know. But these are things like, anyone who's an artist or a model or whatever, anyone who does textures for things, they're going to be playing with that over and over till they say, hey, you know what? I like that. Don't like that. Oh, I'm going to redo that 100 times. But just putting these on the sides like this kind of adds, just defines it a little more and makes it look a little nicer. And there you go. And we didn't add a bottom. By the way, try to add a bottom to your chest. I'm going to actually keep it the same darkness. I'm going to keep it dark for the bottom. That way when you open and look inside, it looks more defining. It's a little more darker inside. Of course, don't forget there's going to be lighting effects. There's going to be shadows. There's going to be even some reflection-looking stuff. All the fun stuff that will enhance it within Unity and Blocklings ourselves will be in there. But there you go. You have the most basic, simple chest possible. And if you hide the layers, you can see, uh-oh, I added that the wrong layer. I'm not sure. There's probably an easy way to actually select that into a new layer. I have no clue how to do it, but let's do the select here. Oops. This is a function that lets you select here, lets you actually go ahead and drag and grab things. You can actually move this around, which I don't want to actually do that, but I wonder if there's a way to... I think when you right click you unselect. I wonder if there's a way to move that to another layer, for example. Select the whole layer, move section to a new layer. That's kind of what I want to do. I guess you could cut, go to that layer, and then paste it in probably. Paste selection. So let's get rid of the top and... oh. Something bad happened. Oh, you know what? I don't even think we ever got it back in there. Oh, oh no, it got in there. Maybe I didn't click it properly. Get rid of the top. There it goes. And then you can hit escape to get rid of the selection. So there you go. So you can cut and paste it into another layer if you do that. I've never used layers before till today, which now I would suggest if you're going to have parts that are going to come apart, like you want to animate one piece to another, it's probably a good idea to do this because this will make our life easier knowing where you want that done. I mean, of course, the chest is pretty elementary. Normally what we would have done is we would have gone to the chest and I'd say, okay, so we want to remove the top. This is how we were doing it, which is fine to us. Oh, sometimes if you don't hit the keys right, it's going to act up. Anyways, there you go. So we'd go like this, right? And we would just hit delete and like, oh, missed a bit. Delete, delete, we'll get rid of the lock, delete. Oh, went a little too far there. But that's basically how we, did it. And then we were happy with it. So I should move this a little more like that. There you go. Delete. There you go. And then we'd export this. And then we'd just go back. You would save this too, just in case if something happened, like it crashed, whatnot. And then we'd delete the bottom and then export the, top and call it, part top, for example, of the chest. And then we can go save, and then we can go save as. Probably do save as if you modify things at times, and we'll put it in containers. It doesn't matter where you're going to place it. You can put it all in one folder because you'll upload it on Blocklings forums, unless, if, of course, you're using this for your own game, then you know better where you're going to put it. And it's actually basic chests. I'll just replace that one since I recorded this once and then decided to do it again. So there you go. You've learned how to do select tool. You learned how to move things around. Keep in mind that you want to keep things right in the center on this grid. That's why you really want to use this tool and create the bounding box properly. Basically, this should be going always in tens because that's how it is in the game. Unless you're making something under the size of one block. Say you're making a torch, a lamp, etc., a street light, telephone pole, And yeah. And so yeah, we learned about the select tool. You learned about the color changer, which is basically how we added the shadowing, but you can just click, any color and go woo crazy on there. We have the fill tool, which is sort of the same idea, but it fills in that one type of color, replaces the color that you select, just like you would find in Photoshop, etc. You have the color picker tool. So let's say you wanted to get the color of the wood we use here. Maybe you can load our chest up and click it and figure it out and grab the color of it. I've never used the erase voxel tool, but it exists. Because I use the right click on the actual main voxel tool, which is this one, which is the block placing one, and then I just use right click to get rid of it. There's a camera control one. I don't really use that. I just use the Alt key, but there it is. So if you have problems holding Alt or you just want to do it through that, that's the way to go. Right click lets you pan again, and left lets you move it around. And then of course you got your undo, redo buttons right here, and if you hover over them, they tell you the shortcuts, just like everything: 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. And then over here you can choose your color. Over here you can choose your color. Over here you can choose your color from a palette. And over here you can choose your colors. Lots of places to choose your colors. The color palette is awesome. By default, this is locked. I would say unlock it, and then when you pick a color you like, let's say, ooh, I love this orange color I just made, and this is going to be one I'm going to use, maybe not just for this, but for multiple things. I'm going to control left click on this color palette, or control right click to get rid of it, but control left click, and that is saved. And then you can export it, which I would suggest exporting it, just so you have it saved here. In case if you lose it. I don't know if it's automatically saved or not, so I'm just going to say export it, or you'll lose it. That's how I'm going to go with it. But there you go. There's a layering. There's a shortcut manager telling you all the shortcuts here. Consoles, layers, 3D view, text, text manager, I guess, X and Y view, Z view, and then YZ view. Wow, so many features. It's awesome, guys. I really like it. It's easy use program. I'm going to show you one more thing. I'm going to load that butterfly because you guys will probably be interested in something interesting. So I made a butterfly. I'm not really good at this stuff, but I'm learning this so I can teach you guys, and then you guys can help contribute over time. But this is the butterfly I made, and how to do this but replicate on the other side is a pain in the butt. So what I end up doing is things that are not an actual physical item that you place on the ground that would be used outside of the normal grid, like animals, butterfly, birds, etc. I end up doing them odd. Or, for example, even a train that would go on something that is basically a moving entity that would not stay still on the ground. I do odd, because then I can use this little plane here, which we can click here and enable toggle mirror. And this little plus here is basically your center. Sadly, this tool doesn't work the best on even, so if you're doing 10 by 10, etc. But it works perfectly on odd numbers. And basically, anything you do on this side, so right click here, it'll do on this side. And this just makes life easier. So when you're working on this, I only worked on one side and I tried to make it as pretty as possible. I tried to do the outline and then I worked my way there. Now when you undo it, it undoes one at a time. So keep that in mind. So if you do one thing and you're going to hit undo once, you'll have to hit it twice. And yeah, so that's the mirror tool. That might be really handy for you guys. I just want to let you know about that. There is more features to it. If I learn more features or use them over time, I will share them with you, of course. But this is what we're using right now. This seems to be the best for what we've been doing. Just save it, upload it, and we can go from there. Tells as much information if you like in the upload, and that way it's easier to work with. And then yeah, we'll probably add your your models into the game, and we'll give you guys credit, of course. So include your name if you want your real name, your first and last name, or just your first name, or just your last name, or if you want, you don't include anything, we'll just use your form name. And yeah, we'll give you credit, and there'll be like a tooltip sort of in game. So like, when you're hovering over an item, whatnot, it'll say, designed by Bob or something like that, or, it'll just have like a credit line on it basically. And that way you will be kind of known forever for contributing to Blocklings. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was, simple. And it was a long tutorial, but hopefully it gave you a lot of information and understanding on the VoxelShop, and I hope you guys consider using it. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.